Howdy folks, and welcome back to another episode of Mingles with Jingles. It must be Monday. Yeah, sorry about that. But hey, at least you've got Mingles with Jingles to keep you busy until Tuesday, and then it's one day closer to Friday. So, what's been going on this week? Well, it's been a fairly quiet week, really, I suppose. Well, that's not strictly true. There's been an awful lot happening. There's the new Tier 6 premium Japanese battleship, the Mutsu, in World of Warships, and yes, I have had a go of it, and no, I have not yet done a preview video of it, and I haven't done a video on it for a couple of reasons. First of all, the embargo on the Mutsu wasn't lifted until Friday the 3rd of February, so we'd had the ship for a couple of days beforehand, but we couldn't do a video until the 3rd of February. That was a Friday, and on Friday, it was an episode of Why You Have to Be Mad, and I couldn't do it on Saturday because that's Casual Saturday Day. I don't want to overdo the World of Warships content. And also, and certainly not the least of the reasons, just haven't had a very good game in the Mutsu. For reasons that will become apparent when I do eventually get around to doing the preview video, the ship kind of suffers a little from, how can I put this, the Graf Spee factor. It's a powerful set of guns mounted on a fairly weak platform. Although, if you've watched anybody else's Mutsu preview videos, then you'll know that it is being buffed, which is kind of weird. Why would they give us a ship to review? I mean, they told us it was going to get buffed when they said, right, the ship's now available in your harbours, but bear in mind that the reload of the guns is going to get buffed, the rudder shift is going to get buffed, and so on and so on and so on. Because it's kind of self-defeating. It's as if the ship was available on Super Test. The Super Testers said, this sucks, and this sucks. They said, okay, we'll get to work on fixing that. In the meantime, let's give it to the YouTubers. Yeah, that sucks, and that sucks. So we'll give it to the YouTubers in that state, but we'll tell them it's getting buffed. And pretty much, if you've had a look around on the internet, pretty much, I think all but one, I think it was either Aerun or Flamu, was the only person that's managed to break 100,000 damage in that ship. And the only person, therefore, who actually likes it. Just about everybody else has said, yeah, it's just not that good. Wait until it gets buffed, and then we'll take another look at it. And then we'll make recommendations on whether or not you should go out and spend any money on it. Also, it's a Tier 6 premium, like the Graf Spee, and Tier 6 premiums have a really, really hard time because of Tier 6 matchmaking. Remember, ships at Tier 4 and below got preferential matchmaking a patch or two back. A Tier 4 ship will never see a Tier 6 ship, and that's great news for the Tier 4 ships. But at Tier 5 and 6, it means that you're always either right at the bottom or slap bang in the middle of the matchmaking, because there are no low tier ships, 2 tiers below you, for you to farm damage on. So it's really, really tough in Tier 5 and 6 ships, particularly Tier 5 and 6 battleships, because they're such big obvious targets and their guns aren't terribly accurate. And the Mutsu definitely suffers from that. And it's kind of weird because the last 2 premiums that have been introduced into World of Warships have both been Tier 6. You have the Graf Spee, Tier 6 cruiser, now you've got the Mutsu, the Japanese Tier 6 battleship, and yet Tier 6 is a horrible tier to be introducing stuff into the game because of Tier 6 matchmaking. It's absolutely brutal, and yet that seems to be the way they're going at the moment. Plus, let's not forget, one of the major attractions of buying a premium vessel in, well, it's World of Tanks or World of Warships is because you can use them to train the crews of other ships of the same nation. The Mutsu, it's a Tier 6 battleship, so if you want to farm experience on your Yamato or your Izumo captain, hooray, stick him in the Mutsu. Well, yeah, but it's Tier 6, it's not Tier 7. Don't forget skills like manual fire control for your secondary gun batteries. It's only really useful if you put it on a Tier 7 ship or higher. So if you're Yamato or Izumo captain with the manual fire control skill, there's not going to get an awful lot of use on the Mutsu because it only gets 15% improved accuracy because it's a Tier 6 ship and not a Tier 7 one, where it would have gotten, I think it's either 50 or 60% improved accuracy on its secondaries. Also, the secondaries on the Mutsu are absolutely terrible. So, weird choice of ship and tier to be introducing into the game. We shall have to see what it's like after it's been buffed. I said I didn't want to this is turning into an episode of World of Warships. But anyway, yeah. So that's the situation. Why you haven't actually seen me doing a preview video on the Mutsu as of yet, although this episode of Mingles with Jingles is very rapidly turning into a preview video of the Mutsu. Anyway, enough of that. Let's move on. Rita dropped another absolute classic this week. It's been a while since she said anything particularly dumb. And I think she made up for it this week. Not so much in quantity, but in quality. Apparently she's started taking vitamins in order to improve her concentration and her attention and her memory. How do I know this? Because she's told me at least 3 times. Oh, by the way, I've started taking vitamins. Yes, I know. You've told me 3 times now. I have, really? Yeah, find it quite ironic, actually. But this is now the 3rd time that you're telling me you're taking vitamins in order to improve your concentration and attention. I would ask for a refund if I were you. I don't think they're working. Oh, bless her. Oh, she passed her driving theory test, by the way. We're all very proud of her. And Eddie has offered... Eddie's obviously, for those of you who aren't aware of who the infamous Eddie is, he's my faithful but incompetent cameraman, has taken her out tonight for her very first driving lesson. To celebrate, they're both returning from Rita's very, very first driving lesson with all of their arms and legs attached. They brought back the biggest kebab I have ever seen in my life, and I've eaten kebabs in Greece and Turkey. I am absolutely bloated. Seriously, there was a tray. It was just meat. It was like 4 or 5 pounds of meat. No salad, no sauce, just meat. Chicken doner, lamb doner, kofta kebab, lamb shish, chicken shish, you name it, it was all in there. What made it worse was that Rita's always been very suspicious of kebab. But she's willing to try anything once, so she dug in and had a go. And it turns out she really, really likes chicken doner. She likes chicken shish. She likes lamb shish, but she doesn't like lamb doner. Now, I do like lamb doner, particularly when it's hot. Cold kebab, it's not like cold pizza. Cold pizza is almost as good as hot pizza, but cold kebab is absolutely disgusting. So I pretty much had to eat all of the lamb doner. Yes, I know, what a shame, but there was a seriously large amount of lamb doner. Right? And I had a beer to go with it as well, so I'm threatening to slip into a food coma at any second. So this is going to be a seriously tired and laid-back episode of Mingles with Jingles. That's right, Mr. Sleepy has come to visit Uncle Jingles, and he doesn't seem to want to leave. Anyway, what I did want to talk about this week was, well, gaming in general, and specifically, what is it about a game that makes you keep coming back? If you look at a game like The Division, or World of Warcraft, or MMOs in general, they tend to have a huge range of different things that you can do to keep you interested and keep you logging in every day. World of Warcraft in particular absolutely nails it. The Division, not so much. I mean, it does. But a lot of the things that you do in The Division tend to be kind of repetitive. I mean, you pretty much just run around shooting things. Then again, running around shooting things never really hurt a game like Counter-Strike, did it? But then again, Counter-Strike is... it's a completely different kind of game. It's a Twitch team-based shooter. That's actually one of the things that I like about The Division. Even though it is an MMO, it's not really an MMO like World of Warcraft, for example. World of Warcraft, you can play solo if you wish, but there's no avoiding other players. In The Division, you never have to even see another player unless you go to a safe house, or unless you invite another player into your group, or accept an invitation for another player into their group, or you go and do PvP in the Dark Zone, or PvP in survival mode. And I like that about The Division, because I've often said that both the best and worst thing about multiplayer games is that they've got multiple players in them, because nobody can screw you up, whether on purpose or not, like another player. In fact, I was playing The Division this very morning, and I don't want to go into specifics about what happened, because I am definitely going to be doing a video on this. It was... how can I put this? It's very, very tricky to describe the sort of thing I'm talking about without actually spoiling the video when I come to do it, but I was playing The Division this morning in a particular game mode where there are other players, and it was the most glorious run I've ever done in The Division. It was the stuff of legends right up until the very end when I got royally screwed over, not on purpose, but I got screwed over anyway by another player. It's still going to make an awesome video because of the way I got screwed. Right? But I was... oh... I mean, I look back on it now and laugh, but at the time I did not think it was particularly funny. And the worst part is, the other guy didn't intend to screw me, but I got screwed anyway. It was, I bet you can't wait for Casual Saturday now, just to see what the hell it is I'm talking about. Trust me, the video is going to be absolutely epic. I really, really do want to do this video. I might even bump it up to next week's Casual Saturday. I realise that those of you who've been waiting patiently to see whether or not I can take the Bismarck and fight off the massed hordes of the Royal Navy and Atlantic Fleet are probably going to be a bit upset. That was supposed to be this Saturday's Casual Saturday video. The Division bumped it, and it's now planned to be next Saturday's Casual Saturday video, but The Division may bump it again. We'll have to see how many of you get upset about that in the comments section of this episode of Mingles with Jingles before I make the final decision, but I badly want to do that Division video because it really is going to be the stuff of legends. So anyway, yes, what keeps you coming back? And since we're talking about the Division, I mean, what is it that you can do in the Division? Well, once you've reached level 30, you've got, well, you can advance your underground rank by doing underground missions, you can advance your dark zone rank by PvPing in the dark zone, you can advance your survival rank by playing the survival mode, or you can just bimble around doing daily high-value target missions and just general open-world content. But they all pretty much just revolve around running around shooting things in the face. And I am currently really enjoying The Division because despite the fact that most of what I do involves running around shooting things in the face over and over and over, I'm a big fan of seeing numbers get bigger very, very slowly, which is essentially what all of these MMOs are about, gradually improving your gear. Yes, I have a maximum level gear score in The Division I have had for some time. Yes, I've got high-end gear and set items I have had for some time, but I'm trying to nail down those set bonuses. For example, I've currently at the moment got 3 pieces of the Lone Star set, which is fantastic, but I badly want 4 pieces of the Lone Star set, and I wouldn't mind having 2 pieces of the Banshee's Shadow set as well. If you don't play The Division, this probably means absolutely nothing to you, but basically collecting various different set items of gear gives you bonuses above and beyond the basic stats on the gear. And a number of you have commented when you've been watching my Division videos, for God's sake, Jingles, get yourself this gear set, get yourself that gear set, run with these mods, run with that. It's almost as if I managed to install the game without ticking that box in the settings that allows me to just pick and choose the gear that I want. People don't seem to understand that you can't just, you know, you have to get lucky. It's not like I can just go and kill this mob and he's going to drop that piece of gear, the same way that you can in a game like World of Warcraft, for example. Each boss has a loot table. You know, there's a specific range of gear that's going to drop from each boss in World of Warcraft. You don't get that in The Division. You have to take your chances with the roll of the dice every time you kill a named elite, for example. So yeah, I'd love to be running around with a 4-piece Lone Star and 2-piece Banshee's Shadow set, but I've got to find somebody that's going to drop those pieces before I can equip them. It's a work in progress. Like I say, these MMOs are all about watching numbers get bigger very, very slowly. And I do suspect that The Division does that on purpose, because if, let's say for example, that named elites wandering around Manhattan in The Division did drop specific items of loot, so that you could then camp the spawns of those bosses and farm them for the exact pieces of gear that you want, that is exactly what people would do. And so if that was the case, there would be websites out there with guides telling you exactly which bosses drop which pieces of gear and where you could find them. And it wouldn't take you longer, armed with that kind of information, it wouldn't take you longer than 2 or 3 hours, at the most, to go out and farm your best in-slot gear pieces for however it was you decided you wanted to play the game, whether that was with light machine guns, assault rifles, submachine guns, shotguns, whatever. Go out, farm the best possible gear in order to support your chosen playstyle, and you'd be done in 2-3 hours at the most. And then what do you do? Exactly. And that's why you can't do that. And that's why I haven't got, you know, the best in-slot pieces of gear to support running around with a light machine gun. Because it's all down to the luck of the draw. And I have absolutely no doubt that that's entirely deliberate on behalf of the developers of the Division, because that's how they keep people coming back. When I got my third piece of Lone Star gear, I was absolutely delighted. It made my day. It had taken me the best part of a week to actually get that loot drop. Now, if I could get every piece that I wanted in the space of 2 hours, well, it'd be great for about 10 minutes. And then I'd be sitting there going, right, well, now what do I do? So that's how the Division keeps people coming back. Now, a game like World of Warcraft, for example, a more traditional MMO, takes a very, very different approach to a game like the Division, because in the Division, pretty much all you're doing is running around shooting things in the face with a shotgun, or a light machine gun, or an assault rifle, or whatever. World of Warcraft swamps you in stuff to do. If you log in every day on a maximum level character in World of Warcraft, there is more for you to do than you can shake a stick at. It very, very much takes the approach of throw as much shit as possible at the wall, some of it is going to stick. And that is basically World of Warcraft's approach. Let's say you've got a maximum level character in World of Warcraft, you're level 110. What can you do? Right, you log in. What's there to do? You've already reached the level cap, now what? Well, you've got dungeons. You've got 5-player dungeons that you can run on a choice of 3 different difficulty settings for increased challenge and increased reward. Then for bigger groups of players, you've got raids available on 4 different difficulty settings for increased challenges and increased rewards. And you've got the achievement hunters. There are hundreds of different achievements available in World of Warcraft, and if all you want to do is run around growing your EP by collecting achievement points, you can stay busy for months chasing achievements in World of Warcraft. People that play MMOs do like to collect shit. And so, if that's what you want to do, well, there are hundreds of different toys that you can run around collecting. There are hundreds and almost 1,000 different pets that you can run around and collect. And that brings us on to the pet battles. World of Warcraft includes its own version of Pokemon. Seriously, it's a game within the game. All kinds of different pets just running around wild in the world, and as drops from different bosses in the dungeons. And once you've collected those pets, you can level them up, unlock new abilities on them, and then use them to battle other players' pets. It's just like playing Pokemon, except it's in World of Warcraft, so there's that as well. Then there's the repeatable daily quests and the world quests, and we haven't even touched on the number of different ways you can battle other players in PvP. They've got battlegrounds, they've got arenas, they've got open world PvP content. You can play on a PvP server where every player belonging to the opposite faction is a potential threat. There's a reason why they call World of Warcraft World of Warcrack. It is one of the most fiendishly addictive, massively multiplayer games out there. I'll give you an example of just how long you can spend in a game like World of Warcraft, just doing the basics every day. Let's say, for example, you've got a character at level 110, which is the current level cap in that game. And just doing your daily emissary world quests. Now, it doesn't matter that you don't know what a daily emissary world quest is, but what it boils down to is that there are 5 playable zones in the new expansion for World of Warcraft, Legion. And in these playable zones, each day you can have anything up to around about 6 or 7 of these world quests pop up in each zone's map. So 5 zones, 6 or 7 quests in each zone. That's a lot of stuff to do. But in order to narrow it down and give you some focus, what they've done is they've introduced this thing they call the Emissary World Quests. Now, what that entails is that across all of these 5 different zones, you've actually got 6 or actually no 7 different factions that you can earn reputation with by doing these world quests. And every day, one of these factions' emissaries, that's why they call them Emissary World Quests, will pop up and say, we want you to do 4 of our specific quests. And if you do that, we'll give you a loot box that could contain some seriously good gear. So from a fairly bewildering choice of anything up to 30 different world quests that are available on any given day, this narrows it down, gives you a bit of focus. You only have to do 4, for example, or if one of the factions only asks you to do 3. Well, that actually seems quite reasonable. That seems fairly manageable. That's not going to be eating too much into your spare time. You log in, you do your various daily housekeeping bits and pieces, like checking your sales on the auction house and seeing what missions your followers have gotten up to. And then you say to yourself, well, I'm only a casual World of Warcraft player. I'm not like some hardcore raider who has to farm consumables and stuff and then dedicate 6 hours a night to raiding the latest raid content. I'm just a casual player. All I'll do is I'll do that, and then I'll head out and I'll do the daily emissary world quests. And they'll take an hour. Maybe if the particular emissary is asking you to do quests spread across multiple different zones, then factoring in travel time, it might take you an hour and a half to do the daily emissary quests. And that's nothing, surely. Can't see what people are complaining about. World of Warcraft sucks your life away. Hour and a half every day, that's nothing. And it is nothing if you're only running one character. If you're running 2 characters, it's going to take you 2 hours, maybe even 3. 3 characters, 4 characters, 5 characters. You see where this is going, don't you? There are 12 different character classes available in World of Warcraft. What if you've got all 12 at maximum level? And the effort to reward ratio for doing these emissary world quests is off the scale. It's a minimal investment of time and effort, and the rewards are very, very, very good. So you want to do them on every different maximum level character that you've got. But the more maximum level characters you have, the more this game sucks your life away. There's a reason why they call it World of Warcraft. Well, Jingle, surely not everybody's got multiple maximum level characters. Really? Do you know what MMO players are like? They love collecting shit, and that includes additional characters. So, yeah, I think World of Warcraft's pretty much got it covered. It's not going away anytime soon. Blizzard are very, very good at knowing how to make people want more. That, of course, brings us on to a game like World of Tanks. How does a game like World of Tanks entice so many people to keep coming back, despite being so overwhelmingly infuriating at the same time? Because it's a multiplayer online battle arena game, isn't it? And there is no other kind of game on the market that can cause such rage. I mean, League of Legends is the same, Counter-Strike Go is the same. You know, they're all... In fact, I think the only MMO I've ever seen that can provoke the levels of rage and frustration that you typically get on a day-to-day basis in a multiplayer online battle arena game is EVE Online. But EVE Online's special. The number of different ways that it's possible to grief and screw people over in that game. Oh man, I couldn't play EVE Online. Well, I used to play EVE Online, but I never really got into the spirit of EVE Online. I kept trying to play it like a single player game that just happened to have annoying other players in it, and that's totally not the way to go about playing a game like that. You have to roll with it. You have to get into the spirit of being an utter arsehole. The way that everybody else does in EVE Online. You might think, yeah, well, you just band up with other players. You know, safety in numbers and all that. Well, yeah, that's true, but there's always a bigger group of arseholes around there. And that's what people play EVE Online for. You know, I'd sit there and I'd try to just do my mining nice and safe in high security sectors, but that's the thing. Player inventiveness is a joy to behold. The number of different ways that people would come up with figuring out how to be an arsehole to you, even in a high security sector, it was just magnificent. I mean, I used to sit there thinking, you know, if only these people would devote that level of ingenuity and dedication into researching a cure for cancer, for example, how much better a world would we live in? Well, that might be true, but it would be a damn sight more boring. EVE Online is glorious. It's totally not the kind of game I am ever going to do well in, but you know, if you're the kind of person that loves to grief in player versus player games, you need to start playing EVE Online. You will find yourself well at home there. Be warned though, it's an even bigger time sink than World of Warcraft. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked again. We're talking about World of Tanks. How does World of Tanks keep you coming back? And it's exactly the same way that a game like World of Warcraft or The Division keeps you coming back. It's all about progression. It's all about that sense of advancement. And there's any number of different ways that a game like World of Tanks or World of Warships will give you that sense of advancement and progression while simultaneously crushing your hopes and dreams into the dirt as you lose your next random battle 15-0 in 3 minutes flat. So how do they do it? Well, it's all about short-term, medium-term and long-term goals. And your short-term goal could be something as simple as, for God's sake, just let me win one battle. However long that might take you. World of Tanks showers you with not quite instant gratification, but very, very short-term gratification, short-term goals that are there right in front of you the second you log in every time you play. You just look at the tanks available in your garage, scroll across the bottom of your screen, and they've all got that indicator for your daily double. So that can be a short-term goal. I want to get the daily double on all my tanks. Now that can become unmanageable when you've got more than 20 tanks in your garage, but that's a short-term goal right there. That's I need to log in and get my daily doubles done, if not on all of my tanks, then at least on the tanks that I'm grinding. Another short-term goal could be something as simple as completing one of the missions for a specific tank, for example, although some of those missions can turn into medium and long-term goals. If, for example, you're trying to do light tank mission 15 for any given reward tank, that can take years to do, and not through any fault of your own. But again, you know, I'm talking extreme examples here. Medium-term goals. Medium-term goal could be something like, for God's sake, please let me farm the experience that I need to upgrade to the 120mm gun on the Tortoise, because playing this thing with a 20-pounder gun is just cruel. So, you know, there's a medium-term goal. And again, the sense of gratification that you get when you do unlock that 120mm gun on the Tortoise makes all the pain and suffering worth it. Other medium-term goals: you want to get a mark of excellence on the barrel of whichever tank you're currently grinding, or you want to ace a particular tank, and some of those medium-term goals can become long-term goals. You want to get a mark of excellence on the barrel of every tank in your garage, or you want to ace every single tank in your garage. And some of these long-term goals can become interminable as they keep introducing new tank lines into the game. Suddenly there's a whole new bunch of different tanks that you need to get marks of excellence on the barrels of, or you need to ace them. And some of your long-term goals could be relatively simple and straightforward. You just want to get to tier 10. You want to unlock your first tier 10 tank. World of Tanks, and by extension World of Warcraft, World of Warships, I've got World of Warcraft on the mind at the moment, they seem like very, very simple games. Log in, play a random battle. But there's actually a heck of a lot more going on there. Not quite as much as in a game like World of Warcraft, for example, that just showers you with things to do, but there's a lot of different things that people may not realise they're actually aiming for when they log in to play the next random battle in World of Tanks. But the goals are there, whether you realise you're actually striving towards them or not. Those are the things that keep you logging in again. So, you know, Wargaming have been doing this for a couple of years now. They're not stupid. They've definitely got that sense of progression covered. But hold that thought, because they're a lot more sneaky than you'd think. There are other games on the market that roughly fall into the same genre, and we're talking about multiplayer online battle arena games here, but they have no sense of advancement and no sense of progression whatsoever, and yet they are still wildly successful and very, very popular. And the specific example I'm thinking of right here is Overwatch. There's no sense of progression or advancement in Overwatch at all. Well, there is some. You do particularly well every time you rank up in Overwatch, for example. I mean, the ranks themselves are meaningless. They don't actually give you anything. Every character that is ever going to be available is available right from the start, and every ability and skill that's ever going to be available on any of those characters is available right from the start. When you advance your rank in Overwatch, all it does is give you a loot box, and those loot boxes give you skins and emotes and all that sort of stuff, and that's the only real sense of advancement that you're ever going to get from playing a game like Overwatch. Overwatch isn't about the sense of advancement, it's about the quick fix. The battles are short, sharp, furious. They're over in a couple of minutes. And it's all about the action in Overwatch, and the fact that you can jump in and have a quick fix, play for 15 minutes, and then you're done. And it's not going to affect your progression, because there is no progression. Guess what? There's a reason why a random battle in World of Tanks will only ever last 15 minutes. So, you've got your sense of advancement, you've got your sense of progression, but you've also got your quick fix at the same time for people who don't care about advancement or progression, and they just want that instant fix of action. Because for everybody playing World of Tanks in order to get better, in order to earn Ace Tanker, in order to get a Mark of Mastery on the gun barrel of their tank, there are just as many people who don't care about any of that. And they just want that instant gratification, quick action fix. They don't really care about getting any better. They couldn't give a toss about getting an Ace Tanker. If they get one, great, but that's not what they're playing for. They just want to sit down for 15 minutes and play a quick battle. And that's why Wargaming are as successful and popular as they are, because they've got both ends of the market covered. This also explains exactly why World of Tanks and World of Warships, although not quite as much in World of Warships, but why both of these games can be as infuriating as they can be. Because for everybody who actually cares about getting better and doing well in their tank, there are just as many people who don't, and they just want that quick, instant gratification fix. And so I find it quite ironic that the very reason for World of Tanks' success, the fact that they do cater to both ends of the spectrum, the player with the medium and long-term goals in mind, who wants to get better and wants to earn all the various different awards for being good, the marks of excellence, the ace tankers, and yet at the same time the game also caters for the people that couldn't give a toss about any of that, and they just want to hit the random battle button, derp around and be done in 15 minutes. And the fact that the game throws both of these types of players together in the same match, and if you're really unlucky, on the same team, it's just ironic that the reason why World of Tanks is as successful as it is at the same time the reason why World of Tanks can be as frustrating as it can be. I find that, I don't want to say funny, because it really isn't, but on some level you have to laugh. And on that bombshell, that's it for this week's episode of Mingles with Jingles. I hope it's given you something to think about, and I'm sure it's going to give you something to argue about, whether you agree with me or not, in the comments down below. Hey, that's what they're there for. As always, folks, take care, and I'll catch you next time.